I tried building a production-ready SaaS in exactly 48 hours using nothing but AI. For the first 30 hours, it felt like a cheat code. Cursor, Claude 3.5, and Copilot were writing 90% of the logic. I was just the conductor. But then I hit a wall, a single architectural flaw that the AI couldn't see, and then it started hallucinating the fix. That's when the productivity turned into a nightmare. Now, I've spent years building scalable systems. I know how to code without the magic. But the hype says AI is replacing the engineer. I wanted to see if that's actually true, or if we're just building houses of cards. In this video, I'm breaking down the entire 48-hour sprint. The wins, the brutal failures, and the exact moment these tools completely broke. By the end, you'll know exactly where AI assistants stop being a superpower and start becoming a liability. Let's get into the wreckage. We've all seen the Twitter threads, coding is dead. Prompting is the new programming. It sounds like a dream. You prompt, it writes, you deploy. But there's a lie being sold here. The lie is that these AI assistants are senior engineers. In reality, they're hyperproductive juniors who never sleep and occasionally hallucinate. For the first 40 hours, it feels like magic. You're flying, but then you hit the wall. The last 10 wall. This is where the AI-driven dream turns into a debugging nightmare. You ask for a simple fix. The AI gives you a block of code. It looks perfect. You paste it in, suddenly 3 other features break. You ask the AI to fix those. It suggests a change that breaks the first thing again. You're now in the hallucination loop. You aren't actually coding anymore. You're just arguing with a chatbot that's convinced it's right, while your production build is screaming. This is the brutal gap between a demo and a product. If you don't know exactly where these tools fail, you aren't building a business. You're just building a house of cards. The plan was simple. Build a production-ready AI SaaS in 48 hours. My stack, Next.js for the front end, Supabase for the back end, and Vercel for deployment. But the real engine was the AI. I used Cursor as my primary IDE, Claude 3.5 Sonnet for the heavy architectural lifting, and GitHub Copilot for the mindless autocomplete. Hour 1 to 12 were a total dream. I wasn't coding, I was orchestrating. Cursor's composer mode is a legitimate cheat code. I'd describe a feature, like a multi-tenant dashboard with real-time usage tracking, hit CMD plus K, and boom. Entire pages materialized. The UI was clean. The types were correct. I felt like a god. But around hour 20, the honeymoon ended. I started integrating the Stripe webhook system to handle subscription upgrades. Simple stuff, right? Wrong. This is where the AI ceiling hits. I prompted Claude to handle the signature verification. It gave me a perfect snippet. I pasted it in. It broke the build. I fed the error back to Cursor. It fixed it by changing the API root structure. Now the entire auth middleware was failing. Then I entered the loop. I'd prompt the fix. The AI would apologize. It would provide a new solution. I'd apply it. The same error would reappear. Then the AI would apologize again and give me the exact same broken code it just gave me. This is the moment it all broke. Here is the brutal truth. AI assistants are incredible at creating components, but they struggle with systemic state. As the codebase grew, the context window became a liability. Claude forgot how the database schema was structured in the first hour. Cursor started hallucinating helper functions that didn't exist. It wasn't just a bug, it was a total collapse of logic. I realized I had spent so much time prompting that I stopped engineering. I had a beautiful house with no foundation. To fix it, I had to do the one thing I was trying to avoid. I had to stop the AI. I spent the next 4 hours manually tracing the stack trace. I had to map out the data flow on a physical whiteboard because the AI couldn't visualize the runtime reality. It only saw the text files. Once I manually fixed the core architectural flaw, the AI became useful again. But the lesson was clear. AI can write the code, but it cannot yet hold the blueprint of a complex system in its head. If you rely on the magic without understanding the underlying plumbing, you aren't building a SaaS. You're building a house of cards. To pull this off, I relied heavily on Cursor AI. It's honestly the closest thing to a superpower we have right now. I hosted the backend on DigitalOcean and deployed the front end via Versal. All the links are in the description if you want to speed up your own build. So, the final result. I shipped a functional SaaS in 48 hours. But here is the brutal truth. The last 10% of the polish took 90% of the effort. AI can build the skeleton, but it can't architect the soul of a production app. It fails the moment the logic becomes deeply interdependent. The tools are incredible, but the engineer is still the bottleneck. If you're tired of the AI hype and want real-world engineering insights, hit subscribe. Now, I want to know, would you trust an AI with your entire production codebase? Drop a comment below and let's argue about it.